Okay, so in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be covering the maps that can that make up the overworld. I know it's been a while since I see some differences where the maps maybe should be a little bit different, but I know it's been a while since we looked at Legend of Zelda, and we are going to get back into it. It is summertime now, and there's nothing stopping me from doing these things, except other time commitments, but certainly not work. Um, so we're going to look at adding all these maps, and when I mean adding up the maps, we're just going to be adding the map files, and we are not going to be making the map files. Although we did make the first map file together, so if you feel like you're not sure where we're getting, for instance, these blocks, how we're getting these blocks and all that, the best thing you could do is you could go ahead and look at the very first lesson is making that first map, and so let's go ahead and get to it. So we're going to need to do quite a bit of stuff. Okay, getting from where we don't have that just that one basic map to where we are now. So where you're at right now is you're like right here. You can't move out the screen. Okay, now one commenter and one follower said that I added some stuff in a previous file, and I want to apologize for that because yes, I added it, and I forgot to mention it, and so it wasn't something I'm keeping pretty good track of where we're going and where we are coming from. But it's been so long, I just want to preface this video with this comment. It's been so long that though I did keep good comments and stuff of where the code was and where it should go, I may make some of those same mistakes in this video. It's hard going from like a semi-complete game and breaking it down into digestible chunks for videos. If I were to create this whole YouTube video from the very first lesson all the way up into like a completed game, that would be a very long video. And so sometimes it's hard just breaking those little things out and making the video a decent size. And so with that said, let's go ahead and make this these maps accessible to you. And so the very first thing you'll look at is you'll have let's see here. So in your file, you're going to have this new file called maps file, and it's just a pure JavaScript file. Okay, and so we're going to look at what is in this file, and then how to link it in and make it accessible to our HTML document. Okay, so the very first thing we want to do is we want to add a new script up here. Okay, so we want to add this maps file, and so we're just going to say script src is equal to .js. Okay, and we're just going to end the script there. Just say end script. And so what this allows us to do is it takes in this file and kind of plops it into this HTML document here. So any variables that I might have within this file are going to be accessible to the JavaScript that I'm currently using in this document. Okay, and so now let's go ahead, since we've gone ahead and linked this file, let's go ahead and look at what makes up that file. Okay, and so right now it is just maps. Okay, but you see that there's some things in this map that we need to fix. Okay, and so the first thing is that we have this file called maps. Now, what we want to do is, what we have right now is we have maps. So we have map bundle right here, and we have our array of maps inside this file. Now, we're calling this JavaScript up here, and so it needs access to that maps variable, and we're only defining it down here. So that's definitely not what we want. And so what we're going to do with that is we're going to go ahead and take that out. Okay, so we are going to say, instead of let's see here, instead of game objects or maps, we're just going to take this let maps equal that and take it out. And if we go back into this and look at it some more, especially near the bottom. So this consists of all these overworld maps. So it's a pretty hefty file, okay? And it's given to you free of charge. But if you look down here, we have this other thing, game object, and there are some formatting issues down here. But this game object that we are calling here, and but we have it in this this file right here, okay? And so we want to fix this, all right? And so what we're going to do is, first of all, we're just going to go ahead and go to the top of our game objects, and we are going to start putting in some of these things that we just got rid of. So let maps, and that's going to be equal to an array. And then we're going to say function map bundle, and it's going to take in a map and an array of objects, okay? And we're just going to set those properties up. So this dot map is going to be equal to the m that we passed in, and this dot game objects is equal to the objects array that we're going to be passing in. Okay, and if you look down here, this is our map. So it's an array of integers. This is our map objects, and it's going to be an array of objects, and we're just passing these in to map bundle. Okay, and so we're making a bundle, and we push that bundle to our maps. Okay, very, very simple. And then the last thing we need to do is bring in this this game object. Okay, and so there's going to be a few things that we're going to add to this game object, because I kind of added them in future things, but I don't want to forget about them when we get to those videos. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and take our current game object all the way down, and we're going to cut that out of this file. Okay, so this is our starter code.html, and we're going to go ahead and put this into our JS file, okay, our maps file. And so this game objects, it begins at X and it ends at bounce Y. So there's a few things that so next X speed, so yeah, is pickup item. Just making sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, old woman cell rupee. Now I don't see that. Okay, so I think that's kind of where we're at. And so X speed, Y speed, that's not in here. Cost, angle. And I know y'all are not seeing this, but I'm looking at my other complete file. And I'm just going to bring in some of these things. Okay, so yeah, pick up item name. Yep. And so we're going to go ahead and add just a few more things. Okay, so this is where it originally ended. And what we're going to do is we're going to add these, looks like 8 or 9 things. Okay, so speed, a water projectile, an angle, cost, X speed, Y speed, rock projectile, needs to shoot, and shoot counter. And these are when we start to animate our little, I forget what they're called, but the little enemies, the red enemies that have legs. And so we'll need these later on, okay? But I just don't want to forget them. So go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and put these in. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to create our first game object. And all we're going to do is just say let, okay, so may have not been able to see that, but we're going to say let go for game object equal new game object and just blank game object. Okay, and so this should take care of this file. We don't have to mess with it anymore. Okay, but I do want to talk about this. So this file, so we have map 0 right here, and basically map 0 is the top left corner of our game world. Okay, and if I were to look at our game world, let me see if I can pull it up. Is this it? Probably not. No. Yeah, so it's not exactly here. Maybe it's in this folder. Map Overworld. Okay, this is it. And so this is the top left-hand corner, and that's map 0. And then this is map 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think this is map 18, and then this goes to, I'm sorry, this becomes map 17, and this becomes map 18. Okay? And so forth and so on. Okay? So 0, 18, 36, and it keeps on going from there. And that's basically it. There's nothing more to it. And this would be map, I believe, 119, and this is our starter world. Okay, our starter map. So 119 right here. And so we're going to get our map started right here. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So what we're going to do is go back into this, and we're going to go back to our starter code file. Okay, and in our starter code file, what we're going to do is, so I have this map bundle, and we're going to get rid of that because we already have that, right? We have that in our maps file. And so right above play sound, we're just going to create our game objects. Remember, game objects is available to us from this variable right here. So game objects is equal to maps 119, and so that's this map. The map number coincides with the actual array index. Okay, dot game objects. And then we're going to say game map is equal to maps 119 dot map. All right, and then we're going to say let current map equal 119. Okay, that's important for later on. And then we're going to call this function called add map game objects. Now, we don't have that yet, but we will actually set that up in just a second. And that's going to take in the game map and the game objects. Okay, so let's just do it in the order that we're adding these objects in. So we want to add map game objects. So what does that even mean? Okay, so if we were to zoom in here, there's going to be a lot of game objects in this map right here that we don't want to add by hand. Okay, and so those map objects are going to be the portal that takes you from this position to this position, from this position to this position, this position to this position, and you get the idea, here to here. And so this is a total of like 12 game objects. This is a game object that takes you from here to here. These are all game objects, and some of these little men, I forget what they're called. I'm not like the Legend of Zelda guru. I remember very fondly playing it, but the names of the little enemies and stuff, I just don't remember. But some of these are game objects because they will be interactable, okay? So interactive, and when you push on them, they start, moving around, stuff like that. And so these will be game objects, but we'll add those by hand. But any kind of map transition game object, we're just going to handle in a different way, okay? Because, man, how tedious would that be? Well, ask my class, because they did it. And then I tried to use their information that they put in, and a lot of it was no good, okay? And so there must have been a better way, a programmatic way of doing this, and it turns out all I had to do was mess with it for 30 minutes or so, and it was no big deal. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at adding this right here. Okay, so where are we going to add this? And so I guess just somewhere near the bottom, okay? Okay. So, function add map game objects, and this is going to take in our level map and object array. Okay, and so what we want to do is we want to loop through our level map, and so that's the current map that we're on, and it's going to look through all these numbers. Okay, so it's going to start here, then go here, 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 and so forth and so on. Okay, and what it's looking for is it's looking for basically an edge where there's a walkable space. Okay, and if there's an edge and a walkable space, it means that there's a transition to the next map, and we need to set up that transition. Okay, and so there are definitely some ways of optimizing this, especially if you're just looking at the edges. It would just basically, you could loop through that those two columns and the two rows representing the four edges. But I just go ahead and loop through it all because I was lazy and didn't want to, think about it more than a few seconds. So we're just going to go ahead and go with what I originally had. And when we want to optimize this later on, let's say that our game is running slow and we're not able to do things within our game because the performance is so awful. Then we'll look at optimizing it at that point. And so here we're just going to, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And here we're just going to say J, and this is going to be 0, J, and this is at 0 dot length J. Okay, and so we have our I and J for rows and columns. And then what we're going to do is we are going to, up here at the top, we're going to create an array of walkable spaces, okay? And so there's lots of walkable spaces on our map. And what we have been using so far is just the beige looking sprites. That's only a very small percentage of the actual tiles that we can walk on. So we're just going to go ahead and create all those. So these are link can walk spaces, forgive the variable name. And so I'm going to, sorry, you may not have been able to see that. For some reason my OBS is acting up, and so it used to record my whole screen, but now it's like stopping like 70% down the line. And so I messed with it last night, couldn't figure it out, and so I'm just going to go with it for right now because I want to get this video out there. But anyway, so where are we going to get these link can walk spaces? Okay, well, that's going to be super easy, and that is going to be right tiles overworld. This is it. And so basically these are it. Okay, so this is the one we are using right now, I believe. And so this one's walkable, this one's walkable, this one is, this one is, this one is, yes. And you get the idea. There's quite a bit that is walkable space, okay? And so we need to extract all these numbers from this file. Remember that this is the 0th index within this array of sprites. This would be the first, and this is 16 or 18, something over here, and then it goes from there. All right. Yeah, I think I had it mixed up on the main map. It might be 0 to 15, and then coming down here to 16, and then 32. And that's the overworld map. And I think I said it wrong. I get these wrong quite a bit, mixed up. Not wrong, but... and so, yeah, let's go ahead and look at all those. And luckily, I already have them. So I'm not going to bore you with typing them out right here. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and paste them in. And if you like, you can go ahead and type them out. But these are just those walkable spaces. Or you can go ahead and look at the final product and just copy and paste those in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create objects based on these issues, or these indices. If this is walkable, we're going to create a new game object and add it to our object array. Okay, and so here, what we're going to do is we're just going to say, well, is it in this index? Okay, so if link can walk spaces dot includes, and we're going to say level map at I level map at I j. And so this is where so what we should do here is say if I is equal to 4. Sorry about that. And so if this dot includes this, what we're going to do is we're going to create that game object. So we're going to say geo is new game object, and it's going to have an x and a y. So we're going to say geo.x is equal to our j times 16. Okay, and so that's the location of that map tile, j times 16. And then here we're going to say geo.y is equal to 3 times 16. Geo.width, geo.height, and so geo.new map. And so what this is going to do is it's going to give us the index of the map that we're going to move to. Okay, if we step on this portal. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to say current map minus 16. Okay, and then now we need to know where at on this new map is Link going to end up. And so geo.newLinkX is equal to j times 16 minus 16. Okay, geo.newLinkY is equal to, and here in a second we're going to be able to copy and paste this a few times, so it's not going to be a big deal. Geo.isPortal, and this is going to be true. That's what we're creating right now, all the portals. Geo.shifts up, down. Okay, so this is if we're going to be moving up or down, and so this is going to be important to correctly put Link at the proper space, because we don't want to just put him at this location, or I'm sorry, this location, because that's going to look stupid, because you're going to see like a noticeable shift from where he left the old map to the new map. There's possibly going to be a noticeable shift left or right. Okay, so we want him to stay in the same X position if he's moving up or down, and the same Y position if he's moving left or right. Okay, and so that's all this is keeping track of. Okay, so that's true. And now what we're going to do is we're going to push it to our game objects. Now I see an error with this, but it's all the same, because what we're doing is we're going to be passing on our game objects anyways, and so we can just push them to game objects. That's fine. I'll go back and fix that later. Okay, so we're going to pass that into our game objects that we currently have. And so now what we want to do is we want to copy this. And now, what if I is equal to 14? This is the bottom of the screen. So this is the top of the screen. And this is going to be the bottom of the screen. And so the bottom of the screen is going to be still j times 16. And then this is going to be different. This is going to be I plus 1 times 16. Okay? And then length and width stays the same, current map plus 16. The new map is going to be below us. And then here we have j times 16 plus 1. And this is going to be 81 for the new link y. Okay. And then is portal true, true, true? All right, perfect. We're going to copy this again. And we're going to say if J is equal to 0, that means it's on the left-hand side of the screen. And if it's on the left-hand side of the screen, the x of the portal is going to be at -16. So when we hit that -1 over here on this side, so that means we just go off the screen by 1 pixel. That means we're going to transition to a new map. Okay, and then here this is going to be I times 16, 16, 16 current map. And then so what we want to do is we want to just go to the left map of our current map, and so that's just subtracting 1. New link x is going to be 223. Y is going to be I times 16 minus 1. And true and true. All right. And then one last one, and this is going to be what if J is equal to 15? Okay, so J is equal to 15. We're on the far right of the screen. And so this current map, so this is 256 right here. And this is going to be a +1 since we're going to the map right of us. So that's indices as we move right will increase. The new link x is going to be a 1. And I times 16 minus 2. And so, yeah. Let's see here. Ultimately, this will not really matter because if it shifts, if this is false, then we're going to take links y and keep it the same and allow links x to change. Okay, so the y is going to stay the same. It's not even going to mess with this value, and this is going to be different. Okay, so this is great, but what we're missing now is we are missing the collision code so that we can, go to the next map. All right, and so let's look at where that collision code is. That's all the stuff we did yesterday, or the last tutorial. And so here, this is game object collision. And so here we have this little if statement in objects dot our objects. So it's going to be right here. Okay, and so this stays the same right here. If objects is a portal, then objects at i.newMap.map, that's going to be, then our game objects is equal to maps at objects at i.newMap game objects. So that looks great. And then what we want to do is we want to add one more thing, actually a few more things to this to change it up and make it proper. Is what we're going to say is we're going to say current map. Now we need to keep track of this current map is equal to objects at i.newMap. Okay, perfect. And then what we're going to do is when we switch into this new map, we need to add those map game objects. Okay, so we're going to call that function add map game objects, and we're going to pass in the game map and the game objects. Okay, perfect. And so there's not a whole lot of like points where we can test our code, because it's all dependent on each, like everything that we're putting in this very long tutorial is dependent on all the other stuff working. So there's not like this is not like a huge visual tutorial where we can stop and test every point of the way. We just kind of have to go for it, okay? And I can explain things along the way. And so here, this link X and link Y, we need to change, okay? So why do we need to change this? Because right now we're saying if we move to the right, then it shifts our Y value slightly up or down from our current Y, okay? Just the way that we are putting these hard-coded values in for each map, okay? And what we really want to do if we move left or right off to another map is we want to keep our Y the same as current link's Y, okay? And so we're just going to say, I'm going to have a little if statement here that says if objects at I dot shifts up down so shifts left, right, shifts up, down. Maybe I'm missing one. Let's see here. Because I'm not seeing it here. Did I forget something? It's always something, isn't it? So yeah, we need to add these into here, okay? So that's something I just did not do. And we'll do it. It doesn't matter where you do it, but since it is part of the is portal variable or property, we're just going to I'm just going to put it up near is portal, but you can feel free to put it wherever you like. Shifts left, okay. And so let's go ahead and look at if I actually put these in correctly. Okay, shifts up, down, and I think that maybe this is wrong. I think one of them is going to be left, right. Okay, yeah. So these are up, down, and then these are left, right. Okay, because that makes sense. If we're talking about the J's, then we're shifting to the left or right of us. That's why we're only adding one to our current map or subtracting one. Okay, and so that puts this right. And so let's go back up to our collision code up here. Now, one thing that we should do before we get to our collision code and get back to that is this whole business right here. Okay, we have all these map objects still here. So I would love to get rid of this stuff. And so I'm just going to go ahead and take these maps. Okay. And just get rid of them. Just delete them. Okay. So now I have draw map. And this is going to be draw link. Okay. So draw map, draw link. Just get rid of all that because we're taking care of everything by doing this right here. So we don't need those maps as part of this file anymore. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go back and look at this shifts up. So this is going to be shifts left, right. And if it shifts left, right, we want to say link X is equal to new link X, okay? But we're not going to change this Y. Link X is equal to objects at I dot new link X, okay? And then this is going to be an else if that says up, down. And this is going to be link Y is equal to new link Y. All right, and then otherwise, we're just going to have like an else statement that says, well, you know, if we're not shifting up, down, or left, right, it means maybe we're going into a portal that is like a cave or something like that. And in that case, we don't want to assume an X or a Y value is going to be the same. We're going to change both of the values. And so here we're just going to say link X is equal to this and link Y is equal to this. All right. And, you know, if we found the portal, and we can just break right here so that we don't like go to this, because if it's a portal, we don't need this if statement. Or we could just do like continue right here, I guess. Break is probably not what we want, although it'd probably, you know, be the same no matter what. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to see, let me just double check. Maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. The first thing we need to do is save this file. We added so much to it, we haven't saved it, so I'm just going to go ahead and save that file. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save this file, and I'm going to run it. And we get errors. Perfect. Well, at least it's going to tell me something. File not found, maps file.js. Lesson 14. Maps file.js. And this is going to be okay. So we are right here. This is lesson 14, lesson 15. Okay. I have to do one thing. I don't know why I did this. So lesson 15. Okay, sorry about that. So I had an issue where I was using the lesson 14 starter code instead of lesson 15 starter code. That really doesn't affect us too much. So don't get too concerned. Really, we're just worried about getting this map stuff, and that was just dealing with like getting the enemy to slide or to go away, okay, to die. I really am sorry about that. But we're just going to keep on moving, and if ever you feel like things are getting kind of confusing, just start from scratch and go straight from the final code or whatever, and then and use that for the next lesson. Okay, and I know things are a project of this size, and making, like I said, making the lessons for it becomes a little bit it's interesting, and since I always make these at like midnight my time, things get a little confusing sometimes, but let's see here. What we have now is we just have this one last error, 1126, and your file is going to be slightly different because I'm starting with code from lesson 14 instead of 15. But like I said, nothing is terribly different except for the enemy may not be able to slide or whatever. I don't know exactly what we did in 14. So 1126, let's look at that. Okay, and obviously I'm missing this, and then here I'm missing this. Why would I call these let? Seriously, I don't know. These are obviously for loops, and why I said let there, I have no idea. But let's see if we have better luck this time. Maybe I have some other stupid error. 1133, and then here we say if Link can walk, and we didn't add the extra parenthesis here. So added one to each one. Hopefully that gets us somewhat closer, and it looks like we're getting closer. Cannot read property length of undefined, and this is 1128. Level map dot length. Oh boy. So this should be level map at 0 dot length. Copying and pasting, you're going to get some errors like that. And so this looks really good. Note that he cannot walk over here. Okay, we'll fix that later. And so now we're looking pretty good. For this lesson, I just went ahead and consolidated 2 lessons, which would have been 15 and 16. Y'all don't really need to know that, but that's why this was a little bit more confusing. I kind of missed some things, and so I looked at, before I started making this, so it looks like there is an issue here. Okay, so inspect, and now we're getting set timeout handler took a billion, taking way too long. Okay, so if this is running at 60 frames a second, then this is not going to get us there. This is effectively running at 9 frames a second, and so we're not able to get all the things that we want done within that cycle. okay, or that frame. So what do we do? So what is happening? And I've already fixed this issue, but I forgot that it was an issue because it's been so long since I've done these. Is the issue is this add game objects, or add the map collision things, the what is it called, add map game objects, that is creating these portals on the sides for us. What that is doing is it is effectively, every time we leave the screen and then go back into the screen again. So we're fine here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into this screen. Okay, so we're back in here, and what we should have is 1, 2, 3, 4 game objects, okay, that are effectively portals, and then we have another game object here and another one here. That's 6 game objects. But what we're going to see is when we say game objects, we have 10. So effectively it is twice the number of these game objects, okay? And so what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and fix that. All right, and I know this tutorial is already long, but it's fine. We will. So this is. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix that, and honestly, I've already forgotten what I did to fix it, but it's. I know it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay. So let's see here. So yeah, so let's go ahead and go back to our starter code. We're going to create a new function, and what we're going to do is call this function already contains portal. Okay, and we're just going to say xy. We're going to pass in the x and y. And we're just going to go through our game objects and, oops. So going to go through our game objects. So for that I is equal to 0, I is less than game objects, dot length. Okay, and then we're just going to say if game objects at I dot x is equal to rx, and game objects at I dot y is equal to ry, and game objects at I dot is portal. Okay, so what we're doing is we're just checking to see if we already have a portal at this location, whatever the location for x and y is. And if we do, we're just going to say return true. We have a portal here, okay? And so what we want to do now is use this and go ahead and, so right here, so this right here, okay? If not already contains portal, and so our x and y is going to be this x and this y, or yeah, okay, so this x, and so I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in, and then 3 times 16 for our y. So if it does not already contain the portal, we want to add the portal. Otherwise, we don't want to add it. Okay? Very, very simple. Okay? So I'm just going to copy this if statement, and I'm going to put it right here. And we're going to change it slightly. So this is going to be j times 16. And then this is going to be I plus 1 times 16. And same here. I'm just going to, copy this, paste it here. And this one is going to be negative 16. And this one's going to be I times 16. Okay. And this one is going to be 256. This can be I times 16 as well. Okay. And so hopefully that fixes our issue. And we were slowing down quite a bit when we are going back and forth between one map. Okay. And so now and I should have a billion game objects if this did not work. And so I'm just going to check my game objects. And I only have 6. Okay. So 6 game objects in an array is very manageable, and it should not take very long to get through that. But if we have 40,000, then that's an issue. Okay, and so that gets us quite a bit. And so now you have a whole world that you can explore, except for a few little things. Okay, and we'll look at those few little things here in a second. And so that is this bridge. Some of these game objects, these sprites that are walkable sprites, they're not quite walkable yet. And so we have to just change that. It's not going to be a big deal. We'll do that in the next video. And then the last thing is these little dudes over here. We need to finish up our little monsters, our little enemies. Okay. And so these enemies should have path planning, and they should be able to walk, So ignore this cave for a bit, because we don't have everything we need to. I didn't finish that by this tutorial, although I do have it finished in my current game file. It's not finished for this, but all I'm saying is the next thing we're working on is not this cave, but it is getting path planning for these types of monsters. And then we're going to add the water monsters that shoot projectiles at you, and keep on going from there. And so definitely, that's what we're going to be looking at. All right, so that is that. I know you may have a lot of questions. Just if so, look at the final code, make sure that it matches up with yours, or just go from the final code and for this lesson, and go from there. Okay, because this was a pretty sloppy video, honestly. If I'm gonna be honest. I shouldn't have started with the lesson 14 code when I was doing lesson 15, and I just merged lesson 15 and lesson 16 together, and so it was pretty sloppy product, but we came out with a pretty good result given the late hour. So I hope to see you in the next video. Hopefully this video didn't scare anybody away, but if it did, we probably didn't need you anyways. I'm joking. This is a free product, so you get what you pay for, right? So I will see you in the next one.